What's going on, everybody? This is James Grandmaster Facts Boys, and you're here for another episode of the Facts Project. Today, very special guest, been a very long time, Damien Becton. We're here to talk about Ruth Avenue Raiders, his brand new all-ages graphic novel that is live on Kickstarter today, actually live today. So thank you for being here, brother.
Thank you for having me. I think this is like number 3. This got to be number 3 or 4.
Yeah. Look, if it hasn't been us talking about Worlds Away and Few Far From Between, I believe, this is
something else. There must have been something else, but I appreciate you having me back on, big dog.
I'm sorry. Center Takes All.
Center Takes All. Yep.
Yes, sir.
So this is number 4.
Yeah, this is number 4, man. So obviously, you tend to run the gauntlet. You have a good idea as far as like genres when you basically are creating a lot of these comics that you're putting together. This one is a lot more personal, if you think about it. Even though it's a 90s era, if people had a chance to watch Nickelodeon, Fox Kids, and everything like that, but this is paying homage to your father.
Yeah. So just like you said, James, first and foremost, it is, visually, it's a shout out to Dexter's Lab. It's a shout out to Recess, to Hey Arnold, all those things that I grew up watching. That still plays in my head, all the inside jokes, all the little jokes that I still laugh at. But it is also kind of a love letter to my dad. He would shout out to Ryan Becton, my dad. He's born in 1963. But he would tell me stories about him and he grew up in Akron, Ohio in the 70s. And he grew up on Ruth Avenue, and he would, and he still does. He would tell me stories about his Ruth Avenue Raiders. They would go from neighborhood to neighborhood to neighborhood to playing other streets, other teams, and they called themselves the Ruth Avenue Raiders. And every character in this book, or every Ruth Avenue Raider in this book, is named after my dad's real life childhood friends. I never met him in life. But shout out to Norman Shropshire, Alan Head, Kevin Head, Vincent Easter, and it's not Jimmy Ramirez. Jimmy Ramirez, is one of my students.
I got it down. Jimmy Robinson, Luther Easter, and Vincent Easter, and Tim Lampkin.
Yep. But Tim, he's gonna show up in another book in the future. But shout out to all of them. But yeah, he told me stories about him. And he would tell me that he had the best hands in the neighborhood. He wasn't the quarterback; he was a wide receiver. So I flipped that and made every character in the book the best whatever. So, for example, like Vincent or Veronica Easter is the fastest kid on Ruth Avenue, and Kevin Head is the averagest kid on Ruth Avenue. So that was just a little shout out to my dad.
That's what's happening, man. Now, obviously, having this type of aesthetic where it's basically based around like a Pee Wee football squad, going from neighborhood to neighborhood. I mean, shoot, I can give my own personal shout out to the Lower Township Rams. That was my squad from when I was little and everything like that. Everybody has one. So the thing is, the playfulness around this, of course, should have a little bit of resemblance for a lot of people who grew up with a lot of Pee Wee neighborhood football teams that have been around. When we're getting into this, the exact vibe that you were kind of like chasing, because the element that makes it more comic book is the fact that you kind of turn this into like NFL Blitz meets Transformers.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it down.
Yeah. So like, but the thing is, it's still giving you like the aspect of that after school cartoon chaos that a lot of us basically grew through. Now, you talked about some of the inspirations. When you wanted to make this an all ages book, what were pretty much the inspirations like going forward? Like, did it start there? Did it start like, this is going to be an all ages book, and football genre is usually rare in comics. Right. So to do that as well, where did that come from?
I think since its conception, I've always I have a bunch of ideas, and I got a bunch of genres. Honestly, I was at MomoCon this weekend,
Mm-hmm.
and I had a horror book, I had a kids book, I had a sci-fi book. I think since its conception, it was always going to be like an all ages kind of thing. One of the inspirations um, from it is, other than like Recess and Hey Arnold and Dexter's Lab, are the Pixar movies.
Yeah.
There are a lot of, and I learned, I'm not saying this as if I'm like a super master screenwriter. I think I'm pretty good. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think I'm pretty
Mm-hmm.
good, but I a lot of the Pixar movies that I watch, like Soul, Toy Story, whatever, they are really good at making you care about the characters, and for the most part, most of the characters are kids.
Yeah.
But they're the themes and the lessons that those kids and people learn, and what the audience learns, are so meaningful that they stick with you. Like Soul is a huge influence on this story,
Mm-hmm.
specifically, and and generally you won't see um, the matches from theme to the Ruth Avenue Raiders.
Mm-hmm.
But like the lessons that you can take from Soul, the lessons that you can take from Toy Story, the lessons that you can take from all these movies and all these great stories, I tried to infuse my own lessons into that. The lessons that Ryan Beckham learns in this story will be hopefully one that everyone can learn from, and the lessons that Jimmy learns in this story, hopefully it's a lesson or something that anyone could relate to or could draw from.
Word. Now, when we're talking about like the storyline itself, it's a full on graphic novel to where when we're talking about like a muse to where your dad basically obviously instigated a lot of input in this because I saw the text that you left on Substack. That
Oh
was
yeah,
actually that's almost like a year ago today,
uh huh,
if you're thinking
yeah,
about it. But also like when you were putting the storyline together, did you reach out for any like older stories that possibly you could insert?
yeah. From my dad specifically, he would tell me about how his teammates, and they would kind of go back and forth, and not in a malicious way.
Mm-hmm.
But they would go back and forth saying, "No, I'm dude, you can't mess with me.
Like I'm the man.
I'll,
No, I'm the
I'll
man.
beat you in a foot race
Right.
easily."
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of that I took with me into molding the characters, and then I kind of thought about, hey, what kind of challenge would this character, Ryan specifically, what would make her change throughout the story? What could challenge her beliefs that she's the toughest, that she's the best?
Mm-hmm.
And then that turned into, all right, well, let's play. What kind of opponents could they have? And then it turned into this. It kind of morphed into this sci-fi kind of thing.
Yeah.
And now they're playing robots, and the robots are gonna. And that's where the Dexter's Lab comes in. They're gonna Jimmy Ramirez. Jimmy Ramirez is the smartest kid on Ruth Avenue, and like a Dexter's Lab kind of genius.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where it turns into the sci-fi thing, and they get outmatched. And then Ryan's gonna have to learn how to adjust because she's used to bullying every other neighborhood. It's easy. Every Going to Cherryville, going to Granada Park, it's easy. They steamroll everybody. So she doesn't want to change her game plan. But when they meet someone's just as physical, just as tough, just as talented,
Mm-hmm.
now she's in a pickle.
Now you just brought up like a couple of towns that you just spoke of. Are these also towns in your dad's
Oh yeah,
neighborhood?
yeah. So Granada Park, that's what the Granada Park Pirates. And you can see that in the first couple pages.
Mm-hmm.
We I grew up in Granada Park. That's where my dad lived when I was a kid. He would
Okay.
pick me up, and we lived in it's a trailer park. The trailer park is called Granada Park.
Mm-hmm.
And the Granada Park Pirates kind of got this pirate aesthetic, and they're all rugged, and those were the kids that I kind of grew up with too. They were we didn't have much. We was out there getting dirty,
Yep.
We were playing stickball, all these different things. But Granada Park, that was the trailer park that I grew up in, and I gave them a little shout. It doesn't exist anymore. I actually drove by. They tore that thing down, man, because it was
Hey,
not a great neighborhood. Shout out to Granada Park, shout out to Cherryville, but it's not a great neighborhood.
hey.
But I loved it. Couldn't tell me nothing, James.
Nah, hey, look, I understand. Now, at its core, the collective, the group, as far as the Ruth Avenue Raiders is concerned, would you say that they're underdogs, misfits, heroes, neighborhood legends, or all the above?
Mm-hmm. I would say they're definitely not the underdogs. They are legends. Everyone in the neighboring neighborhoods and the streets all around, everyone is ready to take down the Ruth Avenue Raiders, and they will be there
Mm-hmm.
when and if they fall. So the Granada Park Pirates, spoiler alert, they lose to the Ruth Avenue Raiders at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they meet the robots of Sector 7, they will be there and they will let them know that they're either rooting for them or rooting against them. There's a little bit of conflict within that as well.
Now, what exactly is Sector 7 in this world?
Okay, and you can see if you guys go to
Your
the Kickstarter
Substack,
page, yeah, and
and
the Substack, you'll see our antagonist, and I didn't really want to make our antagonist Dre Droid. He's a robot. He's not an evil dude. He's not an evil character. He's out to prove something.
mm,
But and the backstory is that as you read through it, Dre Droid, who's an android robot kind of thing, he was abandoned by NFL superstar. And he just got rid of him. He didn't need him anymore. So they tossed Dre Droid into the junkyard called Sector 7.
yep,
Jimmy Ramirez, he sends out a signal talking junk to everybody, or they pick up a signal saying that we're the Ruth Avenue Raiders. We can beat anybody. And that even though Dre Droid's in the junkyard, he picks up on that signal,
yeah.
and now's his time to shine. But it's a junkyard that's down the street or somewhere in the neighborhood, and he puts together his team, and he's ready to take down the Ruth Avenue Raiders to prove a point.
That's what's happening. So obviously, you can't even put him as like a full scale villain or antagonist because there's of course a deep sided personal lore to him as to basically being discarded or put away,
Uh-huh. And
and that
that was intentional. That was absolutely intentional. Because especially in a story like this, I don't think I think everyone has flaws. And I think it's important for especially young readers. If young readers
yeah,
are able to read this book, they're able to see that, even though he's going against our main characters, even though this character is trying to beat them, that doesn't make him inherently a bad person. He has his own motivations, whether it's wrong or it's right. And
mm-hmm.
hopefully some of the readers can see themselves in it, that character as well. And I didn't want to make Dre Droid kind of evil because I did name him. Shout out to Andre Bishop. He's my best friend that I ever had. He passed away a couple years ago,
My
and
condolences.
I named him Dre Droid after my boy. I was trying to fix it so that his name was Android, but it didn't read.
Android,
It didn't read right.
right?
It was too close to Android, so I'll just call him Dre Droid.
Mm,
But shout out to Andre Bishop, my best friend.
definitely. Now, outside of everybody, because it's a collective, as most are basically putting this together. Was there a specific character who became the favorite while you were writing the story?
Yeah. Right now, I got so many of them. The main characters, well, they're all kind of main characters, and they all go through their ups and downs. The one that I enjoyed writing the most
Mm-hmm.
is Jimmy Ramirez, and hopefully, if I'm able to write more of these books, then we'll talk about Kevin and Alan Head, who are the twins.
Yep.
But the big two protagonists right now are Ryan Beckham and Jimmy Ramirez, and I love Jimmy because he Jimmy, well, he's the smartest one. He's the smartest kid on Ruth Avenue, but he goes through a journey himself. He knows a lot. He knows how to game plan. Physically, he's not the most gifted,
Mm-hmm.
but he knows the schemes. He knows maybe we should put this kid here,
Yeah.
so that we can counter this move. But I drew a lot from myself because he is very timid. He is, he does struggle with standing up for himself,
Mm-hmm.
and he does have a long way to go, even though his friends may or may not be right all the time. So I grew. That's a personal one, and I grew a lot. Drew a lot from myself, especially me growing up.
Mm-hmm. That's what's happening, man. Now, as far as like the aesthetics that you wanted for the book, you obviously got Marina and Otegui Ruiz to basically take over the talents of putting all these characters together. The character designs for this to become like a 90s, 2000s cartoon
Oh yeah,
aesthetic had to be. Now, was that always like the game plan? Did she come up with like sketch drawings like in the beginning to be like, okay, they should look like this, and then you basically like showed her like a lot of Fox Kids, a lot of Rocket Power, and
yeah.
everything like that, and was like, no, 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 it's got to look like this.
Yeah, it was a little bit of the latter. So I reached out to her. I found her on Reddit. Shout out to Marina. She's so dope. She's great.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just asked her to do the character designs at first. And she said, sure, I'll do it. Just tell me what you're looking for. Because I saw her work and it was like very cartoony, very 90s, very early 2000s, very Nickelodeon.
Yeah,
But I actually I gave her a bunch of ideas specifically for Ryan, and I wanted that 90s look. So I remember I said, I want her to be, she's the toughest kid on Ruth Avenue. She's fast, she's strong, she's all these things, but I also wanted to make sure that she had this 90s look. So I gave her pictures of Aaliyah, and she of Aaliyah with the bandana,
yeah,
with the jeans and all this, and I gave her pictures of Spinelli from Recess and all the
yeah.
characters from Recess, and she combined it, and she gave me three options, and they're all great, but we all both settled on the one that we gave her. But with the hat, I wanted to make sure, and the bandana. There was the one with the bandana that was good too. But yeah, so shout out to Marina because she's super talented.
Word. Now, was the intention to build this comic almost like as a pilot episode to an animated series? Was that purposeful?
Man, listen, I keep joking with everyone, like, and I tell them, like, if this is successful, the game plan, hopefully Netflix will pick it up.
Right.
Hopefully so and so will see this and be like, man, why don't we pick this up, turn it into an animated series? But yeah, I won't say that it was. That's not, my goal wasn't to turn this into a animated series or a cartoon or whatever.
Yeah.
But I won't put that outside of the realm of impossibility because I mean it looks like one, it reads like one, and if I get lucky enough, I would absolutely consider that.
That's what's up. Now, in the creative action moves, of course, from this, like because it is, of course, as a almost just this aesthetic for children's animation. What was harder to choreograph, artist wise, with Marina, the football action or the robot combat against them?
That's a great question because she's not Marina's not American. So and we send emails and I get
No.
her emails at like 2 a.m.
Okay.
So she's not 100% familiar with
American football.
American football. So
Okay.
I'd send her a lot of whenever something like there's a couple action scenes at the beginning when they're in the I said and I told her shotgun formation and she wasn't sure what that meant. I said, all right, let's put Ryan under center, and I just
Yep.
had to send her different sketches of or different models of what it means to be under center or what it means to put somebody in shotgun formation. And there
Yep.
was a lot of back and forth, but when she does it, it's like flawless. Like a lot of times, like I give her no notes because it's exactly what I'm
Hmm.
looking for. For like when Ryan was throwing the football, I said, let's have him in a pose, have her in a pose like she's about to throw a perfect touchdown, a spiral, and I promise you, it looked like it was perfect.
Mm. Now, where's Marina from?
I forget. I think she's from Argentina.
Mm.
So she's not too familiar with it. And she let me know she's not 100% familiar. And I said, you don't have to be. You know,
Yeah,
I told her you're so talented that like we can make it work. And she's proven me right because she's great.
definitely. Now, do you think, as far as like Kickstarter, has it become like the new Saturday morning cartoon block for weird original ideas?
Man, there's so many dope creators on Kickstarter. Like, and I will say it's getting tougher to fund.
Mhm.
But there's so many great ideas on there. And so yeah, I would absolutely say that there. I don't know if you've ever heard of or had Christian Herrera on here.
We call them myths.
Yes,
Yeah, I have both them
yeah,
books. Yeah.
he's dope. He's such and like Christian is so dope because I met him at Heroes Con in Charlotte, and he was just like out of nowhere, didn't know him at all, just da 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 da, just at the kindness of his heart, he would just gave himself
Hmm.
like, hey, I'm Christian. This is what it is. Let's talk about this. But ideas like that are so common. I wouldn't say it's common, but there's so many great ideas and great creators out there that put things out into the world like him. So yes, I would say
Word.
it's great.
Definitely. Now, as far as like some of the other projects that you've been a part of and everything like that, you've had a chance to basically kind of like skew your skills. We talked about all the multiple genres that you've had to go through
Right.
over the years. You've had a chance to even like kind of like shop this to a publisher in the beginning before you even like chose to put this to Kickstarter. Now, as far as like the direct marketing, basically like putting this book out on your own, all ages books usually, like are usually very rare on Kickstarter. What made
Right.
you feel like this was like the perfect time to put this out?
You know, it's a very, especially now when Kickstarters, and not to, if anyone out there is listening and thinking about putting anything on Kickstarter or whatever, I would never encourage you not to do that or
Yeah.
discourage you to do that. It's very, in my opinion, it's very volatile. Like you could have a great campaign, or you can have a not so great campaign. But and it is daunting. I'm nervous, I'm anxious,
Hmm.
but I believed in this project so much. I believed in Marina's art. I believed in the story that, I was willing, and I'm currently willing to take that risk.
Right.
And I tell people all the time, even if this campaign is not successful, this book is getting made. Regardless, if I got to put my own money into it and wait a year or two afterwards, I know I'm going to put this book out into the world.
That's what's happening. Now, also, to bring forth, I guess, as far as like the natural things, as far as like football are concerned, both you and your father, of course, are fans. You even talked about the fact in your Substack that he says that you're 10 times the player he is, but you said you don't even you can't play that much.
No,
How big is football in both y'all lives?
um,
Are y'all natural fans?
he's definitely more of a football fan than I am. I love the Panthers. I've been watching the Panthers since 2002. I played football in middle school, and then
Mhm.
I stopped growing. So in high school, I didn't play. I didn't play no more. But I still watch football. He loves the Ohio State Buckeyes. He's a Browns fan, and I keep up with football. I'm more of a basketball guy, even though
Uh-huh.
I'm only 5'7". But basketball is where my heart is. And if I'm lucky enough, that's where some of these stories will go. It just won't be
Yeah.
solely football. We'll go into basketball. We'll go into baseball. But that's the best case scenario, and that might be a few years down the line. But yeah, shout out to my dad. He loves his Cleveland Cavaliers. He loves his Cleveland Browns. His
He
Ohio
stays
State
centered
Buckeyes.
with all his Ohio teams, man.
Yeah, that boy's from Akron, Ohio. He will let you know he was born at the same hospital as LeBron
LeBron
James.
James. Now, do you think sports naturally lend themselves to comic book storytelling? because the players already feel like superheroes.
Yeah, and it's weird because there's not too many of them. You know, there's a lot of superhero books, there's a lot of action, there's a lot of fantasy, but there's not a huge. There's a lot of manga. I will say that there's a lot of like baseball, basketball manga, but there's not
Yeah,
too many that sports books that are in the world. But shout out to Brian Hawkins because
yeah,
he has blocked, and that's his coming of age graphic novel that he did through Maverick and Mad Cave. But that's one of the ones, and that would, and I, honestly, that I'll say that Brian Hawkins. Shout out to Brian Hawkins again. That book specifically was an influence on this.
Mm. Now, if the Raiders were a real football team, what would their reputation be around the league?
They are. They are. Well, what year was it? Well, that was like 2018. I'm not a Patriots fan. I'm not 18. 2008. I'm not a Patriots fan. Probably 2009, 2010.
Mm.
But when the Patriots, they had Randy Moss,
Oh, when they
and
went undefeated and lost to my
and
Giants?
lost in the Super Bowl, that's exactly who they would be, and everyone's waiting for them to lose. Because the Raiders, they're cocky. They know they're the best. Even Norman Shropshire, who's the kindest kid on Ruth Avenue,
Mm.
he'll let you know. I kind of modeled him after Tim Duncan. I don't know if you I don't know if you've ever heard that there's a interview with Kevin Garnett talking about Tim
Oh,
Duncan.
yeah, how like
Where he,
his trash talking is like,
his trash
oh,
talk.
got
Yeah,
you.
he's like, oh, got you. Um,
Good
Better
one.
luck next time. And that's kind of how Norman Shropshire's trash talk is. Good job. Maybe next time.
Right. Right, right.
Um, so even though you know they're the best and they know it, and it's not a secret. So they're gonna have to get humbled a little bit.
Got you. Now, which character in the Raiders would absolutely get ejected every single game?
Matt, that is gonna be Alan Head, the strongest kid on Ruth Avenue, and he's loud, he's strong, he's cocky, but he's a good dude too. That's one thing that I wanted to make sure. Even though they have these flaws, they're kids and they make mistakes
Mm-hmm.
and they learn from those mistakes. But shout out to I have no idea how Alan Head is in real life or how he was, but I wanted to make sure he was the strongest kid in the neighborhood, and he's gonna let everyone know he's the strongest kid in the neighborhood.
Mm. Okay. Fun questions. One robot from pop culture you would draft onto Sector 17.
Oh, that's a great question. Does not fit at all. I promise you.
Okay.
He belongs nowhere in this book. But I'm a Bender from Futurama. Because that boy, he will get under your skin, and he's gonna talk junk, and he's gonna let you know,
Mm-hmm.
and he's gonna get under the Ruth Avenue Raider skin.
That's what's
He
happening.
does not fit in this book. I'm letting y'all know right now, but that's my boy. I love Bender.
That's what's happening. Now, obviously, because of the cartoon aesthetic, I gotta ask. Do you hear like the voice cast? Do you like have people that you hear and certain people that you have in this book?
Yes, that's a great question, dog. So I work in a school, and the original plan was to have some of the characters be voiced by some of the kids from my school. It
Mm-hmm.
just didn't work out that way. There is a well, it's just I didn't have money, but two,
Mm-hmm.
I was working and doing and making the trailers at the same time. It just didn't work out. But
Mm-hmm.
there's some kids that have like I kind of model them, or I hear their voice whenever somebody's speaking. Ryan, the main character, specifically, she in my head, she has this gravelly kind of like in my head, it's like a smoker's voice. There's some kids that I've known over the past few years, and I think she's in high school now, or she must have graduated. But she had the graveliest voice,
Just a
and she
raspy
would,
voice.
raspy voice, and her name was Lucy. Shout out to Lucy. I have no idea what Lucy's doing, But she was at my school, must have been 2018, 2019, because I think that was my first year at Piedmont.
Yep.
But yeah, there are some characters that I absolutely hear, and that's definitely number one.
That's what's happening. Now, okay, I'll do a little bit of role reversal. What would a 12-year-old Damien think if he saw this comic today?
You know, I kind of, if he saw this would absolutely be one of the books that 12-year-old me, 11-year-old me would have written. Because back in the day, you know, I used to make my own stories and draw my own and write my own picture books and everything.
Yeah.
This is absolutely one of the ones that I would have created back in the day, because I used to watch these shows so much. And I used to come up with my own cartoon characters. I would have Panda Man. I would have Cybear Man. But this specifically, I remember having a sports book. It wasn't football, and it was kind of a mix of, I don't know if you remember backyard football, the games,
Yes.
the game. Yep. Yeah. So it was a mix of that, how they look, you know, with the big heads and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But and NBA Street. I had a story back then that was very similar to this,
I was
and
about
that
to say
actually
because they
that
have
my
an NFL Street too.
NFL Street when they were jumping off the walls and
Yeah.
stuff.
Right.
So yeah, this is absolutely a story that he would have loved. 12-year-old me would have loved this.
That's what's happening. Now, as far as being how this is so totally centered around your dad's neighborhood, and you ever thought about basically when this is pretty much in your hands, bringing it up there?
Man, I would love to. I told my dad, you know, I don't know if any of your friends are still alive, but I'm gonna have copies for him. I texted him. I was like, hey, make sure you if you have your friends, if you know, let them know that this is a thing.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the plan. Absolutely, bringing those copies, going up there with them, and giving whoever this. I know they don't look nothing like what they used to look like, but
Right.
you know, that's the plan because just it's a shout out to them, because he still talks about them. He can tell me what Alan Head and Kevin Head are like. He can tell me what happened
Okay.
with Norman Shropshire and all of them.
So when you got the aesthetics for basically I know you changed who was it? I think you changed Jimmy's name, and I think
Jimmy.
you changed Ryan to a girl.
Yep.
Yep. But as far as
Yep.
like everybody else, were those suggestions from your dad as to what they look like?
No.
Okay.
Absolutely not. He told me. He said. He told me. He said. I texted him because I texted him the concept art. He said that's not what Jimmy looked like. That's not what Norman looked like. But he liked it though.
Yeah.
He kind of understood that, you know, we needed a linebacker. We needed we needed a lineman. We needed a lineman.
Right.
We need a quarterback. Even Ryan Beckham. She's a girl.
Mhm.
But I kind of modeled her after my sister, and my dad. But he kind of understood that,
Yeah.
you know, we needed a little diversity in there.
Understood. Now, what do you for the people that are basically getting this book? What do you hope readers feel after finishing the book? Because it's a whole graphic novel.
Yeah. You know, I don't know if you've ever watched. Well, I kind of talked about it. But there's a feeling that I kind of get specifically when it's kind of like those kids animated movies, like those Pixar movies, specifically Soul and Inside Out. I would say Inside Out is a huge influence on this book too.
Mhm.
Specifically Joy and Sadness, how those two characters kind of interacted
They
and what
don't
they
feel
learned.
like they need each other, but they do.
They do, yep. And I hope I can convey a message, a theme, and it doesn't have to be the same for everyone.
Yep.
But if a message or a theme that anybody can learn from? Well, I can like so say for instance, a kid reads this and they see themselves in Ryan Beckham. I'm
Mhm.
cocky. I'm this. Maybe I need to be humbled a little bit. Maybe I need to change my plan a little bit, and that doesn't make me less of who I am. But I'm learning as a kid. Or even Dre Droid. Dre Droid is out to prove something to somebody who doesn't even matter to him anymore. Why am I out to prove something to somebody who's forgot about me long, long ago?
Yeah,
So even though there are these different things going on, I'm hoping somebody can learn something from a lot of these characters.
excellent, excellent. Dame, I appreciate you doing this with me, man.
No, dog, you doing this for me. I just like talking to y'all. I
Hey,
appreciate that.
not a problem. So, what is it? The campaign is what a straight 30 days, right?
Great 30 days.
Straight 30 days. What is it? Goal 75?
7,500. Right now, as we're talking, James, we're about 20% of the way there on day one, which isn't bad. We
Yeah,
got a long way. I'm not gonna lie to you. We got a long way to go, but I'm very confident still. There's a lot of time left and a lot of great rewards that we got.
yeah.
But if y'all are listening, go ahead and check out Ruth Avenue Raiders. You can skip all the Google searches because you can go to RuthAvenueRaiders.com and it'll take you straight to the Kickstarter. And hit me up on there too.
For sure. For sure. And also, does this, because it's a month long, does that mean that this is going to correlate into con season to where you arrive at Heroes Con and you could still pretty much promo this book?
That was absolutely the plan, dog. So I was at MomoCon this weekend too. I was passing them out. Hey, check me out. But
No?
towards the tail end of Heroes Con or of the campaign, I'm going to be right at Heroes Con. You should come down, man. Come down to Charlotte.
I would love to. If I didn't work in nightclubs and I had a weekend where I could actually like enjoy comic books for an entire week, and I can honestly say I've never partaked North Carolina like that.
I mean, there's not much in North Carolina, but Charlotte,
Says somebody from North Carolina. There might be a lot for me to do.
it's not. But I'm telling you, that's a great weekend. There's a lot of nerdy stuff going on. A lot of and like it's just if y'all have ever been to a Comic Con, it's just everyone is allowed to be themselves, and
Yeah.
it's just a great time. People are just happy, man.
I hear a lot of the good things about Heroes Con. I
Yeah,
feel some people always tell me it's probably one of the most comic book centered conventions that there is out there.
absolutely, absolutely. There's so many. Like you can go on Heroes Con Instagram, and you can just see the creators that they're posting. And I'm not trying to throw shade at other places cons because they have voice actors, they have
Yep.
pop stars, pop culture, which is
Yep.
great, and that's fine, and TV stars. But the ones that they're promoting over here
Hmm.
is just straight up artists,
Right.
writer.
That's what I like about it because
Yeah.
for one, I'm in Jersey, so like the closest one to me, like we have was it Philly Fan Expo, which is kind of like next week. So it's kind of like what you're talking about. It's kind of just a plethora of everything, mass media, voice actors, actors this, actors that, and that's going to
Yeah,
happen this week. Comic books is kind of like subjugated to just like this portion, and it's
absolutely.
also
Yeah.
also the same with New York Comic Con.
That's a huge pop culture one.
Yeah, so
That
we
goes
go.
TV, movies, all of that.
I think anime has overrun that place to death.
Yeah.
So that's why I said that as far as like Comic Cons are concerned, I always hear that Heroes Con is like, no, that's comic books.
Yeah. And I would implore you, James, come on, take it 2027. Let's make it happen, dog.
Okay, okay, all right, Dame. Look, man, it's always good talking to you. I
Absolutely.
appreciate the fact that you know what I'm saying you're out here in the world basically creating these stories at any imaginable pace. Obviously, I've been a fan of your work because I talk about your work. I can't wait to see what you do next, but I just want to get you here across this finish line because I feel like this is a project that everybody needs to have in their hands.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you. Like I said, it's always great being on here, but we need people like you to support us, to help us put things out in the world. Everyone else, please give my campaign a look. www.ruthavenueraiders.com. It'll take you straight to the campaign. If you if you get an early bird reward, we still got about 24 hours for that. But yeah, check me out, y'all. Appreciate y'all.
For sure. All right. So for everybody, Damien Becton, James Grandmaster Facts Boys here. For everybody here at the Facts Project, get your hands on Ruth Avenue Raiders versus the Robots of Sector 7 on Kickstarter right now. You got 30 days. We're here talking about it on the day of the launch. I appreciate him being here, and we will talk to you guys next time. We are out.